The wind moved like a whisper across the Wyoming plains, carrying dust, old regrets, and the distant cry of a lonely hawk. The ranch sat miles away from anything that resembled hope, just a weather-beaten house, a broken corral, and a man the world had quietly forgotten. Caleb Holt had once been known as the strongest rancher in the territory, a man who could break horses no one else dared to touch. Then the accident came. Gunfire in a cattle dispute, fire, darkness. By the time he woke, the world was gone from his eyes, and everyone he loved was gone from his life. Blind, lonely, broken. He learned the land again by sound and memory. The creak of the porch, the groan of the barn doors, the way the wind told him when a storm was coming. But nights were the worst. Nights brought silence, and silence brought memories. That was the morning she arrived. Her boots stopped at the edge of his porch. Caleb heard them before he heard her voice. "Mr. Holt?" she asked, cautious but steady. "Yes," he replied, standing slowly, his hand brushing the doorframe. "Who's a skin?" "My name is Eliza May Carter. I was told you needed help. Cooking, cleaning, tending the place." He frowned. "I didn't ask for pity." "I'm not here for pity," she said softly. "I'm here because I need work, and because I believe broken places still matter." Something in her words settled deep in his chest. Eliza was not like the other frontier women Caleb remembered. She didn't speak too fast or too loud. She moved carefully, like someone who knew how easily things could shatter. Her past followed her like a shadow, an orphaned childhood, a failed engagement, and a life that had never been gentle with her. They learned each other slowly. She described sunsets to him as they sat on the porch. He taught her how to listen to the land. Some evenings they shared silence so thick it felt alive. Other nights, they shared stories that hurt too much to tell anyone else. Weeks passed. One stormy night, thunder cracked the sky open. Eliza woke screaming. Memories of violence, she never spoke of clawing at her chest. Caleb found her shaking near the hearth. "It's all right," he said, his voice unsure, his hands trembling as he reached out. "You're safe." She hesitated, then took his hand. That simple touch felt heavier than any promise. From that night on, something changed. Caleb's hand found Eliza's shoulder more often. Her laughter filled the house again. But both carried fear. Fear of wanting something they didn't know how to keep. One evening, as firelight danced across the walls, Eliza stood before him, her breath shallow. "Caleb," she whispered, "there's something I need you to know." He turned his head toward her voice. "You don't owe me nothing." "I do," she said. "Because if we go any further, I need you to understand." She stepped closer. He could feel her warmth. "Please go slow," she said, her voice trembling. "This is my first time trusting a man to be gentle." Caleb swallowed hard. He reached out not to take, but to ask, his hand hovering until she guided it to her cheek. "I can't see you," he said quietly, "but I promise, I'll never hurt what I can't see." Tears fell from her eyes, landing on his hand. That night was not rushed. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't wild. It was careful, honest, healing. Days turned into months. The ranch changed. Caleb still couldn't see the sunrise, but he could feel it again, through Eliza's voice, through the way she described the world. And Eliza learned that love didn't have to be loud or painful to be real. Then came the test. A land baron arrived with papers, offering to buy the ranch cheap, assuming a blind man couldn't fight back. Caleb stood firm. Eliza stood beside him. "I may be blind," Caleb said, "but I ain't helpless. And I ain't alone." The baron left. That night, under a sky full of stars Caleb couldn't see, but could feel, Eliza took his hand. "You saved me," she said. He shook his head. "No. You reminded me I was still worth savant." The wind passed gently over the plains again, but this time it carried something new. Hope.